Hello, how the devil are you? Hope you're well. I'm trying to be in a good mood. I'm not. I'm in a bad mood. I've hurt myself. I was out on my bike there now, cycling along like an old man, delivering bread, and I was perfectly sensible cycling, and I turned right, and as I turned right, going at a perfectly sensible speed, on my partially powered by my legs, partially powered by electricity, the front wheel, as I turned it, totally lost grip and slid across sideways. I went down and banged my arm. Got a black eye. Oh, you can't see it. Kind of yellow at the minute. Face swollen here. Where is it here? And hurt my finger, which you can't really see, but it was badly bruised. It's a bit bruised there. You can see that. Generally, I've not been doing too well. Thank you very much for asking. And constantly getting frustrated because I'm not able to get out there and make videos as well. That's always frustrating me. And I've been I sort of sit on the internet and I look at people's what people are posting, what's going on, and I've got opinions about it, and I kind of talk to friends and stuff about it, and I kind of enjoy it, and I just think that I need to make more videos where I talk about stuff for my own sanity, and I want to hear what people who maybe like-minded people who are a little bit sort of more middle of the spectrum when it comes to sort of their political ideologies and the way they think, will sort of find this as a home for them. I'm a firm believer that anyone who is kind of a political activist is their mind is not for changing, so there's no point engaging with them on any level whatsoever, apart from just playing with them like you would play with a kitten, I guess. People monetize arguments, and what I'm finding is there is increasingly now, this very moment in time, the crossover between the mainstream media and the alternative media, if you like, is finally happening. It's inevitable it was going to happen, and it's going to be. We've got a lot more trouble on the horizon, and what you have is people from the 90s. No, hold on. People from the 2000s and 10s who were, 200,000 subscribers on YouTube, decent income, few grand a month, are now multimillionaires with, 120,000 viewers per live stream. Somebody like Tim Pool, who has his, he has a media empire. It's not really an empire. He has a media group now. He has YouTube channels and websites and merch and probably sponsorships and all sorts of things going on. He's got staff that are on regular pay, probably doing quite nicely. He's got like a mobile studio. He's got a mansion house out in the country. He's got security. He's got a recording studio. He's got skate park. The guy's doing really well for himself. And that's all from that's all off his own back. Now, he would call himself a journalist, and I wouldn't, because I think he's an activist. But what you're seeing is him pushing back on that sort of persona. We definitely saw it back in the day when he was like a smaller YouTuber, Lauren Southern, Sargon of Akkad, in his kitchen, talking to him and, sharing each other's audiences and growing that way, the farming as it became known. And now that, we've got mainstream names seeing value in the size of Tim Pool's audience, he's having to push back a little bit on being politically biased and positions himself, I think. Well, I don't know where he positions himself, to be honest. Don't really care. I think he's kind of right. I think that, and we're seeing this more and more, that people who are kind of on the right or libertarian are kind of feel that Tim's on their side. So whatever he says doesn't really matter. But there's been a lot of infighting. We've had that recently with Tim being supportive of a particular guest he's had in the past, while another group of like YouTubers, not as big as Tim, have sort of been attacking that person, and he's been defending that person, and there's been a bit of infighting there, all for the sake. And it all sort of ended because everybody realized that they shared the same audiences, and it was spoiling their viewing figures, and they needed to like agreed to paste a veneer of let's all just agree and we're all friends, we can all watch each other's stuff again, which is what they did. So you are seeing a sort of natural, organic, for want of a better word, evolution of media happening as we speak, as I speak, as you speak, as you watch, as we sit here, as we poop. It's all happening. And there's it's very, very interesting days. You've got people like Matt Walsh. Look at that setup. That's professional. We know what it is. It's that's a photograph backdrop behind. Looks like a real set to me. Not sure why there's a banjo there, but don't care. Grassroots America, maybe. But that looks really sort of professional. And everyone's doing, like, even Matt is doing, he's actually got rid of the podcast mic now. He's using a proper tie mic, look. And we'll all start doing that, because podcasts pretty much are videos, aren't they now? They're not what podcasts used to be when the iPod came out. So times are a-changing, and it's very interesting days. We have so there was that, so that recent sort of bust up happened, and then did I call him Tim Pool? I think Matt Walsh. Yeah, Matt Walsh. I called him Matt Walsh, didn't I? He has come under fire from people that you would normally assume were on his side on everything he says, and that's because he made a documentary called "What Is a Woman?" I think it was called that, which was quite successful, very successful, I think. I don't think it hit mainstream media, but it was certainly massively known about in the alternative media, and I think he did very nicely from it. Certainly saw him everywhere when it came out, because it was an interesting documentary. But he's kind of like now made trans issues or trans topics his kind of like forte. It's what he does now. He talks a lot about it. And I think there's one particular TikToker who's trans, who he kind of picked apart their identity or what they said they were, said they were man, and it was kind of like I think some people found hard to watch, hard going, brutal, and the threat that sort of sits over everybody's head is that there's a high sort of, what's the term we use on YouTube? Unaliving themselves rate amongst the trans community. So there's always that threat of be nice or else. And Matt's kind of turned a blind eye to that. And I think there's been a bit of pushback towards him from people he'd normally regard as his sort of allies. So let's listen to him as he talks about that very thing.
Okay, so that was Tim Pool, Jeremy from the YouTube channel The Quartering, Sydney Watson, Amala Ekpanobi from PragerU, and the guys from the podcast.
So these are a bunch of
Triggernometry. Now,
this is a bunch of right-wingers all have had a pop at him.
One thing I want to be clear about here is that I'm not mad at any of these people. There are no hard feelings. We can disagree and all that.
I don't believe anybody when they say stuff like that. But just to say that these YouTubers, I'm calling them right wing, and I mean, don't really know what these terms mean anymore, to be honest with you. But they're kind of right of center. Put it that way. They're not. I wouldn't say they're moderate. Some of them are moderate, but I don't know.
It's fine. I could have done without the snideness and the lame cheap shot from the Triggernometry guys at the end, especially in the video where they're supposed to be lecturing me about the value of taking the high road. Okay, when you're going to do that, you can't start the video by insulting me, but we'll leave that to the side for now. Instead, all I'd like to do is address the overarching criticism one last time. First, you'll notice the connecting thread. Okay, they all agree that I'm right, that what I said is factually correct, but they think that it goes too far by saying it out loud. Mulvaney's the one.
Right, I don't know what everybody said. Right, so I'm coming at this not knowing what everybody said about him. But he's just told us what they've said, and he's qualified it as they don't like the fact that I'm saying it out loud. Is that true? I don't know, but I'm listening to this on the basis that I don't know if that first claim is even true. I've heard Matt say twist things before, and knowing that what he's saying is not necessarily, he's kind of said that in a way that's not exactly accurate to what people were saying. So I'm a bit sort of wary of him when he uses when he's putting somebody else's position forward in the way he's just done. So it might be what this that said, it might not be, I don't know.
One running around like some cartoon of a woman passing out tampons in the women's room and meeting with the president to defend the mutilation of children. But I went too far.
So he's just done a characterization there of what this person that he's criticized is like. Now he said passing out. Well, I have no idea about any of that. I'll assume it's true. I don't know if it is, though.
Well, see, this is where we differ. Because in the culture war, I don't think it's possible to go too far by speaking truth. The truth is the truth. It is what it is.
This is true. The truth is the truth. It's just like that microphone is a microphone. It's a dumb thing to say, but he's saying it. But he is, I think, a very religious man. And he'd struggle, I think, convincing a lot of people about what he believes in terms of God is true. But there you go.
It's the reality. Are we going to defend it or are we going to conceal it? Are we going to embrace it or are we going to hide from it? You can't have it both ways. When it comes to gender ideology, the truth is ugly. It is brutal and...
Well, sorry. For many reasons, I'm interrupting this, and I know you probably just want me to just play it, leave it alone. But he's just talked about what is reality, and he's making out that what he thinks is reality is reality. The reality is that people twist things and present things differently to one another, and that's the reality. The reality is they're very confused messages from both sides.
Harsh and disgusting. I wish it wasn't that way, but it is. I didn't make it that way. I didn't create the ugliness. I'm merely pointing to it and saying, look at this. Look at it for what it is. But you would rather that I soften the blow a little bit, that I dress the truth up to make it prettier, more palatable.
There's not enough not all in this for me. So he's talking about trans people, right? And I would say not all trans people are the same. Not all trans people are activists. In where I live here in Yorkshire, I actually know of one. There may be, just because they work in the local shop here. And nobody bats an eyelid about that or them or cares. Nobody cares. So but if they were campaigning and yelling at women that they weren't real women or and that you're transphobe, or if they were like in the street campaigning and doing what activists do, using super combative language, I would start to not really like where that person's coming from. So trans activists are a huge problem. All activists are a problem, by the way, but trans activists are particularly bad at hurting trans people who just want to live their lives as a trans person. And they are, you see, I think that Matt here is reacting to trans activists, not trans people. And if anyone is going onto TikTok and lecturing you about what you think and what you believe and trying to get you to readdress it, that's activism. If they're just going about, imagine you saw something on TikTok that was just somebody showing you how to make pancakes. Oh, and by the way, the person who was showing you was trans, but no mention of it ever happened. Ever happens in the video. They're just showing you how to make pancakes. If you want to watch me next week make some more pancakes, it'd be great to have you here. See you later. See what I mean? It's kind of nobody cares. People might go, "Oh, trans person." That's it. End of issue or interest or anything around there being a trans person making pancakes. But Matt is talking about all trans people are pushing an agenda. All trans people are wrong. I think there's a little bit of his religiousness coming into this. But that's where the issue lies with Matt. And I think the person he's talking about probably is an activist. And I don't really have massive sympathies with anyone who is lecturing anybody about anything on TikTok or any social media about how, you're all, just wagging a finger at the viewer like they're transphobic if they don't comply.
You want me to lie to protect the feelings of our enemies. And make no mistake, Dylan Mulvaney is our enemy. He is an open, visible, active, and passionate advocate for the abuse of children, the war on fundamental truth, and the destruction of human society as we know it.
Fundamental truth.
You wish to defeat this man in a manner that will not make him feel bad about himself, but I'm here to tell you that you are delusional. I'm not going to protect your feelings any more than I'll protect his. You are deluding yourself. We got into this position in our culture precisely by valuing politeness over truth. We got here by doing exactly as you would have me continue doing.
I think his concern is also that the guy is deluding other people too. People are buying into this. Governments, laws are changing. That a trans woman, a man born a man, can identify as a woman and in law be a woman. That is a big, 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 big deal. And it affects a lot of things that not everybody's thought about properly, is my feeling. And when all change in laws comes from activism to a certain extent. But we have these battles to sort it out. And eventually, hopefully, reasonableness, certainly in the UK, wins the day. But anyway.
And what you blame me for not doing. We got here by refusing to speak the plain truth and by allowing the anti-truth brigade to emotionally blackmail us into silence. They use their own mental fragility as a cudgel to beat us into submission.
That is a big problem because it is often used. I think there's a trans girl, teenager who was murdered recently, and immediately it was jumped on as this is what happens. Look how bad it is, how bad transphobia is. It's like if somebody is murdered anywhere in the country, all the various groups are kind of like almost in a sick way, crossing their fingers that I hope they're part of our group so we can use it and weaponize it. The person that was murdered was Muslim. Oh, there you go. That's Islamophobia at work there. Or the person who did the killing was Muslim. Oh, there you go. Here's all these Muslims in the UK causing us problems. Or the person that was killed was, I don't know, a goth. Nobody cares about them, do they? Nobody cares about that goth. Or Scottish, or Chinese. Or sort of like black and black crime that exists. Nobody talks about any of that stuff. It's just all these like trending topics and trending sort of groups. It was literally 5 years ago, everybody was talking about Muslims. And now everybody's talking about trans people. What's it going to be next? What's going to be in the next 5 years? What struggling minority group are going to be the victims of activism? Sorry, I'm getting all irate there.
That's the threat, right? And we let them get away with it. Or you do anyway. I won't.
I don't.
Second, you say that I'm not going to convince the other side with this kind of rhetoric. But here's what you have to understand. This is very important.
By the way, I think everyone understands this. It's not about everyone talks about having a conversation. And there's, as I said right at the beginning, activists aren't interested in having their mind changed. So there's no point in engaging in conversation. All you do is play with each other so you can monetize it and also get more eyes on your point of view. That's activism. Yeah, that's what it is.
Convincing the other side is not my primary objective. This is the core difference between you and me. I'm not looking to reach an understanding with these people. I'm not interested in compromise and dialogue.
I'm not going to play any more of that because that's enough. We get his point. But you may, or
For
you...
those who castrate children...
You may or may not be familiar with The Quartering, a guy called The Quartering. But he, The Quartering who is actually on holiday somewhere on a beach, has decided to take to Twitter and have a pop at Matt Walsh. People saying being an insufferable asshole is somehow the only way to win are basing this on literally 0 wins. They are 100% convinced being kind has failed them, but there's no evidence being hardcore. So there's lots of name calling going on there. Matt has responded to that. So you'll describe me as an insufferable asshole and then whine when I use harsh language against trans activists. Also, well, he did it there. He mentions trans activists, which is a specific section of a group. And I think trans activists are fair game in terms of criticizing them. And I think they need to be criticized so that trans people can live peacefully and just get on with their lives. Because trans activists are ruining trans people's lives. And I hope that Matt Walsh will see that different. I mean, the fact that he's mentioning it there. But it absolutely, this is what I mean by these guys are all alternative media and they're coming through into mainstream media thanks to new channels popping up, things like Talk TV. And I say thanks because I think it's a good thing. I think all medias, there shouldn't be a hierarchy of medias. I think like with Talk TV, with Piers Morgan, he's having a lot of YouTubers on his show. I think he's had Matt on. I know he's had Andrew Tate on. He's had the guy from Triggernometry. They all have sort of pundits. So the crossover is definitely happening. But people like Jeremy from The Quartering, who's basically just a gamer, I remember when he started, he was getting criticized by a group of people from something the gallery, and I can't remember what they were called. He was into playing card games, and he changed his name to The Quartering. And now he's got like 1.4 million subscribers or something. So he's doing really nice. And he's got a little bit of clout, and they're all about sharing clout, and because they've got to keep the money coming in because they can't do anything else, bar YouTube. They're all starting to sell coffee for some reason. They're always been sponsored by coffee companies. So he's somebody who's unprofessional in that he will go onto Twitter and like name call, and use words like asshole and dickwad and stuff. These are shit posters. He will stir up. He will keep people talking about it. He'll get all his fans on his side. He will be the head. He'll be the header of a thread of just toxic nastiness. And then he'll go make 6-7 videos about it. He'll get 900 views per video, and the money keeps rolling in. So this is what they do. It's like a little circle. And what will happen later on with this? After there's been a bit of drama, they'll make up and they'll do a tweet saying, "Listen, we all just need to get on with one another. We've all got our differences." Let's see if he's done it yet. Just seeing if he's actually done it. Oh my god, he's swearing at people. I'm not even going to read it. I can't stand the guy. And we're seeing this sort of happening all the time. I'll tell you what's happened. I want to say yesterday, but it probably wasn't. But I was watching Nerdrotic, and this is a guy I could probably like if he would just stop for a minute and stop doing what happens to people when they start getting a bit famous. And he's not really famous because you probably don't know who he is, but he's famous within his own little bubble. And people are throwing money at him every single day just for talking. And he kind of did this thing where he admitted that, like on when they have the audience score on Rotten Tomatoes, he'll always use that audience score. If it's really low on a film, he'll use that as evidence. Like, look how rubbish this film is. Everyone hates it. Look, like 4% on Rotten Tomatoes. Audience score, because there's the critic score. And usually they're both opposites. The critic score and the audience score is opposite. But we only should really care what the audience score is. So he uses that as a weapon to sort of attack the film and to prove that his rhetoric is the right rhetoric and he's right and everyone else is wrong. And then what happened with the new Ant-Man film is the audience score was 80%. Now, Nerdrotic has been saying that the film's bad, but the audience score on Rotten Tomatoes is 80%. But he's saying, yeah, but it's locked at 80%. It's not moving anymore. Something's up with that. But the mainstream media is saying, look, 80% audience score. The film's a success. It's doing really well. People love it. And then Nerdrotic said in a live stream, well, we shouldn't trust the audience score on Rotten Tomatoes. I know I use it sometimes for fun in videos. And then he did that. And it's kind of this complete and utter admission that he's lying to you. And, as somebody, when people who watch his stuff and people who watch any of these people's stuff are just being lied to all the time, because all that matters is the money keeps rolling in. They monitor, they measure their success by how much money is coming in, how many subscribers have they got, how many people liked that tweet. And, that's how they monitor they know it's got nothing to do with quality. But, and this is why I quite like people like Dr. Disrespect, who puts these guys to shame when it comes to quality of stream. And I think their numbers sort of show it. Dr. Disrespect will consistently be 20 to 40,000 viewers every single stream 3 times a week. And it's consistent. Whereas for everyone else, it's just like this polarized battle, bitter awfulness. I mean, they enjoy it. They enjoy people hating them. They enjoy hating people. It's such a weird, immature playground way to live. That's what we did in school. And it's so bizarre. And I think this is like this lack of growing up that's going on amongst young men and women. You see like women in their 30s with cuddly toys. They'll be streaming and they'll have a bed in the background, and they're in their 30s or late 20s and they're still into cuddly toys. Weird as shit. Anyway, I've talked about quite a few things there, and I've gone on for a half hour. And it's long form stuff. You might not like it. You might not like me doing this kind of stuff. But things are changing in my life. And I'm going to do what I like. So come along for the ride. Why don't you? Look, this is Flooded. Subscribe if you can. If you can be bothered to click on that button and hit the little notification bell so you get an alert when I make a video. I can do this live. This is actually, I've done this as a recording, but I could have done this live. And I need to be a bit more gutsy about doing that. I'll stick a thumbnail on this and just let it go as it is. And I can do this till the cows come home. So till the next drama that pops up, this is me saying cheerio. And I'll try and look at the camera more as well. I hope you're having a lovely time over there, wherever you are doing what you're doing. Catch you later.